Okay. All right, so that makes how many H's here? Plus, how many there? So that's how many total. So now we got 4 on the other side. All right. How many O's? How many O's are on the other side? That's about front. That's right. Once you put that, once you put this 2 here, that 2 goes down. Yep. This 2. You got 2 O's on each side. All right. You've already done the H's. All the letters are catching.
Maybe your birthday starts and like the first week of the month. That's just how it works.
I'm up there. Yeah.
You see how she didn't care?
You going today?
Yeah. So do we have a room actually?
What's the
Yes, it's yes.
Oh, is that? I don't like.
What? I don't know. Okay.
So,
This class.
whose class are you supposed to be? Absolutely not.
It's Dan Herbert's wall.
Oh, I did it wrong.
So we're only missing Dylan and Herman. All right. So let's look at the answers. In the first one, what do you do for aluminum bromide? What kind of compound is it? Is it an element or a compound? It's a compound. So if it's a compound, what do we have to do? Huh? If it's a compound, we have to do what?
Crisscross.
Crisscross.
Oh, my bad.
So aluminum has a 3, bromine has a 1, and crisscross your oxidation numbers. It does not have a 2 unless it is alone. If it's by itself, is it alone? No. So it does not get a 2 slapped on it. It only gets a 2 if it's an element that's by itself. And aluminum and bromine are not alone. So we do not put a 2 on it. Lithium oxide is again a what? It's a compound. So lithium has a 1, oxide has a 2. Bring our 2 down, bring our 1 down. Both of those things are compounds. So they do not arbitrarily get 2 stuck anywhere on them. All right, lithium bromide. And I left the oxidation numbers here just so we would know what they were. They're both 1s. They cancel out and go away. Plus aluminum oxide. Aluminum has a 3. Oxygen has a 2. 2 comes down. 3 comes down. Now, I don't need my oxidation numbers anymore. Get rid of those. So, is my equation balanced? No. Which element would you like to balance first? The who? You tell me.
Bromine.
Chromium? All right. Bromine has a 3 and nothing. So if I have a 3 and nothing, what do you want me to put here? 1. All right. So I'm going to put a 3 here. All right. So if I put a 3 there, can I get 3 here? Nope. So pick something besides bromine to start. What?
6.
Okay. Make 6 what? 6 bromines. All right. So there's 3. So I'm going to put what here?
2.
Okay. So how do I get 6 bromines? Put a 6. How many lithiums do we make? How do I get 6?
3.
All right. How many oxygens did I make? How many oxygens are over there? How many aluminums are over there?
2.
How many are there?
2.
There's 2.
2.
So we're good. All right. For number 2, how many manganese oxides do I have here? That's a compound, right? So what am I going to do there? Crisscross. So manganese has a Roman number behind it. So what does that mean? That's the oxidation number. So manganese is a 5. Oxide is a 2. So I'm going to bring my 2 down and my 5 down. Plus fluorine. Fluorine is a what? It's an element, right? And I heard somebody say it's one of the 7. So anytime you have an element that's by itself, it's alone, you have to ask yourself, is it one of the 7 diatomics? So is fluorine one of the 7 diatomics? It is. So this is one that would require us to stick a 2 or a subscript on it. All right, manganese 5 fluoride. That's a what again? It's a compound. So manganese has a 5. Fluoride has a 1 for an oxidation number. The 1 comes down, 5 comes down. Plus oxygen. Oxygen is by itself. Is it one of the 7 diatomics?
Yes.
Yes. So since it's one of the 7 diatomics, what do we do to it?
Put a 2 on.
Put a 2 on it. All right. So is it balanced? No. What do you want to balance first? You tell me.
Mn.
Mn? All right. So Mn has a 2 and a
1.
So we're going to put what here?
1.
All right. So we're going to put 2 here. Okay. So 2 there. So I made how many F's?
10.
10. So how do I get 10?
5.
Okay. So that leaves me with O. So how many O's are here? 5?
Yeah.
So how do I get 5 here?
Oh.
Can't, right? So I can put what here?
5.
That'll make 10. How do I get 10 here?
2.
Put a 2 there. All right, so that made 10. How many MNs did we make?
4.
Can I get 4 MNs?
4.
Okay, so we're going to put a 4. How many F's did I make?
20.
So can I get 20?
Yeah.
I'm going to put a what?
10.
Everybody go to that? Okay. So if we look at the last one, which is just a balancing. All right, sometimes we struggle the most with these. We're going to talk about their types today. They're called combustion. So when we look at that, how many C's do we have? 6. So how do we get 6 C's on the other side? Put a 6, okay. So how many H's do we have?
14.
So we're going to put a 7. So how many O's do we wind up with here? There's 12 there. Like 12, but that's 12. And how many are there? So what's 12 plus 7?
19.
So can I get 19 here?
No.
So what did I tell y'all to do when you got an odd number on Friday? Put a what out front?
2.
Put a 2 out front. So if I put a 2 right there, how many C's do I wind up with here?
12.
So how do I get 12 here? Put a 12 there. And then how do I get, because that'll make 2 times 14, which is 28. How do I get 28 H's here?
14.
14. All right. So that makes how many O's right there? 12 times 2 is 24 plus 14 times 1 is 14. So what's 24 plus 14? 38. How do I get 38 O's right here? 19.
That one is a tough one. Yeah, that what is the first one?
2, 19, 12, and 14. All right, questions?
How did we?
Oh. What's today?
Monday. 25th?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, questions?
Whoa.
You have
She's a good actress thing. She could
Didn't I give you a copy on Friday?
Was it the same thing?
I thought it was.
I don't remember exactly.
You are struggling.
But I need to be more organized.
If you will, find your homework. We did what? 1, 2, and 3? 1, 2, 3. And there's 6.
Oh, hey, I found it.
I'm sorry, I think you have 2 copies.
I mean, I wrote this. The first 3 were
These should be pretty easy because most of them are double displacements. You didn't have a lot to do with single elements.
So we can reduce like one side and not the other.
Then you can't reduce.
But like, for number 6, because I originally got 6 as our plus 2, and I
Let me see what you had. Okay, and we're going to add. Let me see it.
I like all the little things where I can gauge your heart.
Here's what's wrong.
my mom was there, Abby had it all week. Abby had it Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, that's what caused your.
Jimmy Hart is prepared. Did all her minutes. I was on table for 48 hours. I forgot to cancel out.
All right. Questions about those 4? Flip to the last of them.
Yes.
What? Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, these are the answers. Yes, Annabelle. Oh, I didn't do it.
All right, which one's back here? I know this was 12 and 13. Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did remember. I did remember that.
What?
I was showing Raquel how Andy picked me up. Do you cancel out the 2s on 13 too?
It's just a lot of work.
Which two?
To the right.
I went one time.
No.
The homework and the
The C4H10. If I give you a compound that's a C and an H, don't simplify. If I give it to you that way, do not simplify. Correct. The only subscripts you're going to change are ones you crisscross yourself. But if I give you the subscripts that way, don't touch them. All right, so which one am I doing, Raquel? Which phone up? All right, number 3. Let's see if I have the question written out somewhere to make life easy.
How do you know the difference?
Apparently, I don't have the question written anywhere. All right, so number 3 says what? Tell me what it says. Antimony is SB. Let me change from green. Somebody told me they couldn't see green last week.
Are they colorblind?
It's possible. All right, so antimony was SB, and it was 5. All right, what was next? Carbonate is CO3, and it has an oxidation number of a 2. So the 2's coming down, the 5's coming down. Plus, what's next?
Manganese, 7.
Manganese, 7.
Permanganate.
Permanganate, MnO4. Permanganate has a 1, 7, and 1 comes down. Those of you who don't have a question, just sit there, keep your mouth shut. All right, so it does not matter what compound is next, but so that I'm consistent with what's on your worksheet, which compound did I put next? Antimony's. All right. So antimony, SB, permanganate, MnO4. Let me back that up a little bit. I'm going to run out of space. All right. SB with permanganate. All right. And antimony had a 5. Permanganate had a 1. Plus manganese carbonate has a 7 and a 2. Bring your 2 down and your 7 down. Now, are we okay with that, Raquel? Yeah. So, which do we want to balance first? Pick something. Tell me what you like. Sure. All right. So, CO3 has how many? 5. And how many here? So, if we go with 35, because you can't get 7 and you can't get 5, we'll put a 7 and 5 and make 35. How many SBs do we make? 14. So, can I make 14? Yes. Okay. All right. What is 14 times 5? 70. Okay. Can I make 70 MnO4s here? How? All right. That's how many MNs? How many MNs? Okay. Anybody else? Question on the homework? We feel okay on it. We feel okay about word equations.
On number 6, we had a reduce or like simplify the 2.
Yes. Hold on. Just went past it. Yes, because this had a 2 and that had a 2. So yes. If you forget to reduce the 2's, it will mess up your balancing. And yes, if that was a test question, if it's a 3-point question, I'm taking 2. If it's a 4-point question, I'm going to take 2. Okay. Anybody else? Question? If it's a quiz question, I'm going to take 5 of the 10. I'm going to take at least half for forgetting to mark those out, which is why I said for a lot of you, when you recognize the oxidation numbers, I wouldn't even bring them down because most of you, once you bring them down, you're going to forget to reduce. Okay?
But isn't it the same if you don't reduce? Like, isn't it the same?
No, it won't balance the same way. All your coefficients will be different.
So, do you balance?
Nadia, y'all stop talking at the back.
Do you balance before you bring them down? Or do you balance after? It doesn't matter.
You need to cancel them out and then balance. Because if you don't cancel them out, your coefficients are going to be completely different in the equation. Okay? Which is why I said I will take half. Because now your subscripts are wrong and your coefficients are all different. Okay? Anybody else? Question? No? So we feel fairly comfortable with word equations. Because if you can't do word equations, today gets very difficult in predicting products. Fabulous. Let's talk types of reactions. Okay. You should be pretty good with word equations. It's not hard to do word equations.
This ball, is it okay if I use your scissors and tape?
Sure.
Since you wouldn't. Yeah, sorry.
All right, so we're going to talk about 5 types of reactions today. Now, first of all, there are more than 5 types of reactions. All right. These are just a nice jumping off point in a first-year class. So don't think down the road that I'm skipping and these are the holy grail. These are just a nice beginning point for a first-year class. As we go through, if we have time, we'll expand on these. We'll just see how far we can get. Now, single displacement is the first type we're going to do. Some books call it replacement. A lot of books do. Some books call it displacement. Depends on the author of the book as to which one they use. I learned displacement when I was in school. It's still the one that I use. Some teachers learned replacement, so it's the one that they use. It does not matter which one you use.
So are you always going to test your quiz? Are you always going to put displacement?
Most likely. That does not mean that on the state test you won't see replacement. Okay? Now, if you would like to abbreviate, you may abbreviate SD if you would like to abbreviate. Now, I will caution you, if you use the wrong abbreviation and you put S, there is a synthesis that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and its abbreviation is S. All right, so if you're going to abbreviate, please use the correct abbreviation. Because if you come up to me and say, Ms. Wall, I just used the wrong one, and it's S, I'm going to assume it's synthesis, and I'm not giving you credit. All right? Now, single displacement is an element plus a compound, and you get an element plus a compound. Now, the thing about a displacement or a replacement reaction is 2 elements change places. Why it's called replacement or displacement. One element replaces or displaces another. And this is one of the 2 types we're going to learn how to predict today.
Is L an element?
Yes. It is. Just not enough space to fit it all in. You okay over there?
No, because it.
What's wrong with the binder?
It smells like a restaurant, like grease.
Is it the one you left at the restaurant?
Sadly.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Second, right there.
And you worked where again?
It's
It's where?
it's across from the police station.
Oh, okay.
Bella Vilagos.
All right, so here's a typical example of single displacement. If you have sodium, plus magnesium bromide. You'll get sodium bromide plus magnesium. Now, in this particular reaction, can anybody tell me who exchanged places?
Sodium.
Sodium and magnesium is the right answer. Now, if you don't see it, it's completely okay. All right, and sodium and Mg change places. Okay? If you don't see it, it is okay. Don't worry about it. I was just asking to see if some people did.
Right.
I'm going to show you how to figure it out, and you're going to have to figure it out, but it's not hard to figure out.
Are we gonna have to balance these two?
If you write an equation, what do? Yes, and yes, you will have to balance it. The nice thing about balancing is if you write it wrong, it won't balance. Everybody got it? Okay?
Wait, I'm not ready.
Are you there now?
Yeah, I'm gonna copy.
Whoops. So, double displacement, also called replacement. You may abbreviate it DD. All right. This time, it will have a compound plus a compound, and you will get a compound plus a compound.
Okay. Wow.
Anybody else just ready for this video? Yeah.
We started
Just
4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, but now we are.
Here's what's Now, everybody got it? So, if it's called replacement, again, two elements are going to change places.
I thought
So-
it was a compound.
Huh? Yeah, but two elements in the compound are going to change places. All right, so the nice part about this today is two of these are going to work the same way. So when we learn to predict, the nice part about it is single displacement and double displacement work the same way. So it's not like you have to learn two new processes. Both of them work the exact same way. So it makes it a little easier to learn today.
Oh,
Now-
VR and CL.
That's one way to say it, yes. Okay, you could have said VR and CL change places. VR and CL change. Or you could have said what else? NA and MG. Okay, you could have looked at it either way. So when we do double displacement, I will tell you to choose either the positives or the negatives to switch, and to always pick one or the other. Okay? I chose the positives when I was doing it in school, and so I tend to pick the positives and stick with that.
How do we know if it's possible?
I'm going to teach you how to do that. It's all part of the process, dear. Yes. I know I heard somebody say something that I had a question about. Maybe I'm just losing my mind. All right, everybody got it? Number 3, synthesis. Synthesis is the one I told you a minute ago is abbreviated with the S. So you cannot use S for single displacement and get credit. Okay? Now, this one forms one compound. Okay? Makes one compound. So, you can have you will not have a plus sign, let me say it that way, on the right side of the arrow, because you only form one compound. There will not be a plus sign on the right. Okay? at that. Jayla brought her own tissues today. Please tell me it was not like half full or something this morning.
Oh, it was for wool this weekend. It was.
Oh.
Yes.
Need something to spice this room up.
I just need these germy children not to come to school before you get me sick.
Well, want me to go home?
I think some of the teamwork.
Joyce. Is on his birthday for lunch? Might as well. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna be.
Alright, so in this one, notice that on the left I wrote you could have any combination of element or compound. You could have two elements, you could have one element in a compound, you could have two compounds. You could have any combination on the left side. But on the right, what can you have? Only one compound, okay? So again, based on what I wrote up above, is there's no plus sign on the right. So, here are two
Whoa.
Yes, I just accidentally went too far. So, if you look at the three examples I have, I've got one that has two elements, one that has two compounds, and one that has an element and a compound. So you can really have any combination, but the thing that makes them all the same is they all form one compound. Stop throwing it on the floor.
Sorry,
This is why at the end of the year, I have to personally take all the tennis balls off the desks and pull the hair off the bottom of them and have to put all the tennis balls back on in August. Oh no, I put gloves on to do this. Most of it's weave, but you know, there's also some hair. But it's gross regardless. But you know, you got Annabelle over there pulling her hair out, throwing it on the floor for us. Alright, so the fourth kind is you were standing over there pulling your hair
I
out.
can't see the bottom part because of.
Why? Because it was covered up?
I don't know. Just couldn't see it.
That's nice. Get it from somebody who did see it. Decomposition. Alright, decomposition is abbreviated with a D. Alright, so here we start with one compound and it breaks apart. So if we start with one compound, it means there's no plus sign on the left. Okay? There's no plus sign on the left. It's going to take forever to write it down, guys.
Okay, well, show us all what you just wrote, because that looks like he's C1.
Well, and last time I checked,
There's nothing behind that.
I don't think so.
They are. I'm taking her time. What?
Oh, that's funny.
Did you catch up?
I'm trying.
Oh my God. Well, if you would have seen the video we made yesterday, you would have died. It is
Well, they
hilarious.
actually probably fell off. You cringed so hard. We were dancing, having a good time. We were bored.
When you combo of, is it supposed to say ELE?
It's supposed to be LE. Yeah, it's not like that.
Think about how quiet your classroom is without me.
No, you're not the only one who talks, Annabelle.
Okay, right now. I'm the one talking.
I know you should just stop.
It's like hard to be quiet.
It's okay sometimes to just be quiet.
Everybody gets your class.
I like it sometimes, but not too much.
You remind me of JD in fourth period.
Oh, no, hey,
All right, so here are two, the stuff at the bottom. All right.
Oh,
See it?
yeah, I can see it now. Jayla's head that far.
Okay.
Jayla's face.
I wouldn't have said Jayla had a big head.
Oh, the bun.
Really? That's what you're gonna go with? So there's two equations there at the bottom in case people can't see that. But you'll notice that on the left side of the arrow, on the reactant side, there's no plus sign.
Any compound element?
Are we gonna have to balance these? No question.
Yes, you are.
There's no question.
You are.
I'll take it back. I'm sorry. Everybody erased it from y'all.
I asked earlier.
If I will tell you this, if I only ask for type, then I usually don't ask for balance. Okay? But all of the ones down here at the bottom of the board where it says predict the products, you have to write the equation. Yes, ma'am, you have to balance all of those. Because you're writing the reaction. So they have to be balanced.
I wish you could. Yep, yes, sir.
All right, are we caught up?
No. Why?
Are you sure you're fully recovered? You don't need to go home and rest?
She trying to send you home. Get out of the classroom.
You know, you
Long night last night. I had an assignment at 11:59. They got turned in at 11:57.
You might need to go home and rest.
I do. I've got prep.
Feel free. Come on. You'll find out.
I don't have a car.
Oh, yeah. When's that going to be fixed?
I don't know. Marilyn's tired of me too. It's okay.
So, combustion is the last type. Combustion is a hydrocarbon plus oxygen. Now, notice that under the hydrocarbon, I wrote a definition. Now, it's a very technical definition.
Let me guess. The
Hydro stands for what?
Water.
I said I wrote a definition under it. Hydro stands for hydrogen. Carbon stands for carbon. So a hydrocarbon has to be a compound with carbon and hydrogen. That's all that is. A hydrocarbon is carbon and hydrogen plus oxygen, and you get carbon dioxide and water. Now, this is my pet peeve equation. Everything we've done up to this point, I said element plus compound, two compounds, one plus sign. I couldn't be very specific, but this equation is very specific. I'm telling you exactly what elements and exactly what compounds you get. So as examples, this would be an example of combustion. So your hydrocarbon has carbon and hydrogen. 1C, 4 H's is an example. Plus O2, you get CO2 plus water. Everybody knows CO2 is carbon dioxide, right?
Yeah.
And H2O is water. We should know. All right, C3H8 is a hydrocarbon. How many carbons are there? How many carbons are there? How many hydrogens are there? Plus oxygen, we get CO2 plus water. Do you see a pattern there? Okay. If I wrote C4H10 plus oxygen goes to CO2 plus water. Do you see a pattern? What's different in the hydrocarbon? The subscripts. The elements don't change. The only thing that makes the hydrocarbon different is the subscripts.
So was the last one on our homework good combustion?
The last two were combustion. Okay?
So the reactant side is always going to have the CO2 plus the H2O.
The what side? Starts with a P. Listen to your classmates.
There's some water.
The product side is always going to be the carbon dioxide and water.
Correct.
That's all. So how does human combustion work?
Huh?
Human combustion.
Basically the same way.
But like, how do you blow up?
You don't.
Does combustion
Does this have an abbreviation?
C. The abbreviation is C. You would have to have a gas that would combust.
Right.
All right. So, based on what we've just done, all right.
Why would you think of it like that?
All right. Based on what we just did, I want you to tell me the type of those 8.
This is hard. Why would you do this?
I
You write it down.
All right. For those of us who are stuck and going, this is hard.
What?
In the first equation, how many plus signs do you see?
Like, so it's automatic.
So if you only see one plus sign, what are the only options? Synthesis or what else? Or decomposition. So are we forming something or are we breaking apart?
Forming.
So that means we're synthesis. All right. If we jump down to number 3, how many plus signs do we see? So we're either single, we're double, or we're combustion. Did we make CO2 plus water?
No.
Or not combustion? Do we have an element plus a compound or 2 compounds? So if we're 2 compounds, we're double. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You did that right fast, but it's okay.
Do we write this?
Just the type.
I don't care if you write it, just write the types.
So wait, the ones that change from there are NaCl.
You don't even have to tell me who changed. I just want to know, is it single, double displacement, combustion, synthesis, or decomposition? Watch your language over there.
Watch it. Yeah, I'm not writing this.
I'm just asking the types. Tell me which one you think it is out of the 5.
I'm gonna write it down so I have my places in my.
I have a worksheet that has examples on it that I'm going to give you for homework. If you don't want to write those, but if you want to write them, that's fine too. Which one? Which one? You're asking me which one is which type, or
No, which one are we?
you're doing 2 and then 4 through 8. Since I just did 1 and 3.
What are you doing? What are we doing tomorrow? No, I'm asking.
We hope, anyways.
I swear, we don't take it.
Right.
We don't take.
Can somebody video Nakaya with the sense of police?
I got you. Yep, I'll be in prison.
We all know you.
Not prison.
We're not going into prison. Because I mean, if I'm fighting,
I'm gonna go back home.
I assume y'all are going to take the ACT. The 2/3 to 3/4 of us that will be left are going to work on synthesis and decomposition.
Raise your hand if you're taking it
quiz.
tomorrow.
and a quiz.
3, 4, 5, 6. Dang.
There's about 6 to 8 of you, I think. That's what I said. About 3/4 of us will still be left. About 2/3.
I think we. Next, pull the other.
Oh.
What last thing?
Which weird is that I know.
It's about half A through.
Hey, through Antonio.
Is that where it's at, Antonio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Yeah, it can't be.
So then it's not. Well, then it's not.
Parson.
Yeah. So whatever.
Noah, do you test tomorrow?
It's before it. You don't test
What do you know?
Yeah,
Noah probably does.
It's before
People knew when you tested.
Nah.
Too much.
Hold on.
You said cool it up.
Okay, I don't know. No, I'm gonna 1 second.
Oh, I'm not telling you. I need to.
Right, I need to.
Well,
Actually,
actually,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
bed.
Oh, we still gotta go to work tonight too.
Oh.
You want to
I did last time.
Tuesday ends with Alondra. Alondra is the last one.
I told y'all.
Oh, so no.
Now you heard them say.
Yep, Alondra's the last one. And then it starts with Malik. Malik, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I teach you, but I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Who's the last person in our class?
He said that, like,
Stop.
last
Bring
week.
that up. No, like.
And I don't know which room is testing 1, 2, or 3,
Right, what is one?
but if you're in the Thornhill side of the building, but it goes, testing room 1 is Adkins through, Yanet Chavez.
And you might want to listen to.
All right, those who are testing tomorrow.
Oh.
Testing room 1, whichever room that is over there on Miss Thornhill side, is Adkins last name through Yanet Chavez. Testing room 2 is Martinez Contreras, Diane Contreras through Angel Gonzalez. And then we start with Cecilia Guerrero through, I guess Alondra, because that's the third room. Alondra Luna. And that's in testing room 3.
Dang, that room's gonna be packed.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
I'm gonna let y'all know this.
Yeah.
Room code.
Probably about 25
What was it there?
There's Thornhills.
Yeah, it's Thornhill's room, Bostic's room, and Mr. Moore's room.
Who's Mr. Moore? I don't
And it might not be Mr. Bostic's room, it might be Miss Honeycutt's room. Honeycutt, Moore, and Thornhill, because Bostic has tables, so it's probably Honeycutt, Moore, and Thornhill's room.
So where are those
three rooms
students
with,
going? The ones that are actually in those classes?
Thornhill's in my room, first period.
So where are you?
She doesn't have a first period.
Well, I do, but he's been booted out to the media side. Because it's a study skills class.
Then where's your second and third though?
They're here. Miss Thornhill has to roam all day, so she's in here first period, Miss Bauer's second. I want to say Jessup's third, and maybe Johnson fourth. And I don't know where Moore goes. He's in the annex building somewhere for 4 periods. And then Miss Bostic is maybe upstairs all day. They're all somewhere. Miss Honeycutt's in the media center all day. All right, so number 2. What kind is number 2? It's decomposition. All right, number 4. It's single displacement. All right. Now, how do you know it's single displacement? Because I had somebody say I thought it was DD.
Wait, what is DD?
Double. Double displacement is DD. All right. When you look at it, if you've narrowed it down this far, what can you tell me zinc is? Is it an element or a compound? It's an element. That's what makes it single and not double. Okay? When you look at number 5, this one is one I think should slap you, but people tell me I'm wrong all the time, every year. It's combustion. What is this? Carbon dioxide plus water. All right, but people tell me they don't think it's obvious because they get hung up on the reactant side, and they tell me it's an element plus a compound, and so they see element and compound and think single. Some people tell me they see 2 compounds and think it's double, but I always think it just says CO2 plus water, and CO2 plus water is a what? It's combustion.
I swear that's a song.
All right, it might be. I have no idea. Number 6 has 2 plus signs. So if it has 2 plus signs, it's either single, double, or combustion. But do you see CO2 plus water? No. So what can you tell me all 4 of these things are? They're all compounds, so it has to be double. All right, what about number 7? It's combustion again. How many plus signs in number 8? 2, so it's either single displacement or double displacement. And what can you tell me this is? So it's what? Everybody good? Okay, what? And number 2, how many plus signs do you have? So it's either decomposition or synthesis. Is it breaking down or coming together?
Breaking down.
That's why they said it was decomposition, because it's breaking apart.
They're all breaking apart. They're all. No.
See how it's together, MnO, and then it's separate, it's Mn plus O?
Yeah.
That's why it's decomposition. All right, now. Yes. Oh yeah, I didn't even know you were there. Sorry, you just blend in with the masses. That and the paper at the back. What's what? Did you say what's what?
I answered it.
Okay. All right, let's get rid of that. And I need.
Bro, I need to take a nap.
Well, I told you to go home. You didn't feel well.
No, I'm doing a nap during lunch.
I don't know if this is what I want. I'm looking for something in particular.
I need to sleep. I didn't want to sing.
Yeah. This is what I want. All right, so this is where we're going. All right, so currently we can predict types based on having the reactants and the products. Well, now we need to be able to figure out what types of reactions we have based on only having the left side. Okay? So, if we were to look at these, could you tell me what type of reaction we have if we only have the left side?
I mean, for number one, yes, combustion.
Okay, so number one is combustion. That's good.
That's it.
Number two would be what? I think number two should be pretty obvious. Double is two compounds. Good. What about three?
Yeah.
Most people would probably predict number three at what? Most people would guess the number three is double because there's two compounds. It's actually going to turn out to be synthesis, but you have no way to know that right now. All right. What about number four? Decomposition. There's no plus sign. What about number five? Wow. All right, what's iron?
It might be a.
That's an element. What's this? That's an element. So if you got an element plus an element, what would it have to be? Could you signal displace if you have an element plus an element?
No, that's element.
That's an element plus a compound. So what would it have to be if it's just an element plus an element? A synthesis. All right. Sulfuric acid plus potassium. Why? What's sulfuric acid? That's a compound plus what's potassium? So an element plus a compound would be what? Single. Good. And what's Li2CO3? Decomposition. Good. All right. So what now? An element plus an element is synthesis, because you can't signal displace it if you just have an element plus an element. Okay? All right. So now that we're okay with doing it with only a left side, now we're going to talk about how to predict products. Yes. Okay, so now I'm only going to give you the left side of a reaction, and you're going to find the right side. Yeah. Your quiz tomorrow ends at what we just did. Okay, quiz tomorrow ends at.
What did we just do?
Right.
Quiz tomorrow ends there.
So we need to be able to identify the reaction.
You need to be able to write word equations. You need to be able to balance the word equations you wrote, and you need to be able to tell the types. You'll be taking the ACT. So you'll be down 2 quizzes you got to make up.
That's a lot of work.
All right. Oh, and I'll be here Tuesday and Thursday after school this week, by the way. Wednesday I have a meeting. All right. So for my title people.
I am so stressed out that you are adding on to it.
I'm sincerely sorry.
Yeah.
Time. All right. So we're going to talk about predicting products for the rest of class. All right. We're going to learn to do 2 types, and they both work the same way. So it should hopefully alleviate some of their stress. All right, so we're gonna do, could you do that a little less so you know you don't spread the joy? All right, so we're gonna start with single displacement. All right, so single displacement, we've already said, is an element plus a compound, right? And go get some water so we can contaminate everybody else who gets water today. So, for example, let's say that we have aluminum plus sodium chloride. Nice, easy one to start us off. We've got an element plus a compound.
Who left their course dressing?
Grace.
Who?
Grace.
Grace?
Grace.
Grace?
Force.
Oh, I have mercy.
Grace.
Grace?
Yeah, that's
Her name is Grace.
Oh,
It's
it's
actually-
Christ. I was like,
Jesus is not here.
that's what I really good.
I mean, spiritually, he probably is.
I need him.
But in the flesh, he's not. So if we look at aluminum plus NaCl, all right, we need to be able to single displace this. So how are we going to do this? Fortunately for us, we're going to follow the same steps for single displacement and double displacement, so we don't have to do this process twice.
Did you not finish writing it?
No, because she was busy wandering around the room.
You just left the arrow. Write the arrow.
I'm coming back.
Oh.
Or if I want, I'll just recopy it.
Why don't you just
I
extend
thought
the
I
page?
didn't know.
Because for people like Caleb who were at the very back of the room,
Oh, it gets small.
it gets really tiny for him.
Oh, you can sit there. She's sitting
No,
on
I'm.
You can sit up here today since you know Karen chose to sit over there.
I said today.
I know, I was offering him the chair for today.
Oh, that's talking to her.
Since she's a little territorial, if you want to sit there today.
Oh, no, you can.
Did you want it?
Oh,
No, I didn't care.
what are you writing? What are you writing right now?
Nothing, I'm waiting on you so I can turn the page.
I know, but why did you stop?
Writing.
Because you told me to go back.
Why is there?
Write it down.
And
No, right, what's on the
We
board?
have no.
She's done.
All right.
Why is it like it's not there?
But don't make sure
Stop.
That's what I do.
I can hear
They're
this.
thinking. Boy, no. Right now.
All right, so step one is to find the oxidation number of each element or polyatomic ion, okay? Because yes, we are also going to do these with polyatomic ions. I'm just starting us slow and just doing them with easy elements to begin with, okay? So we have to look up the elements and their oxidation numbers or polyatomic ions, okay? Number two. We're going to switch the element or polyatomic ion with the same sign. Do not take any subscripts across the arrow unless part of the polyatomic. I didn't write all that out, so if you want to, you can write it out yourself. All right? So you're going to switch the element or polyatomic ion with the same sign. do not take any subscripts across the arrow unless it's part of the polyatomic ion.
By same sign, you mean positive, negative?
Yes. So if you have two elements that are positive, you'll switch the two that are positive. If you have two that are negative, you'll switch the two that are negative. Okay, so for single displacement, you will only have two that are positive or two that are negative. When we do the double displacement, you'll have both, and you can choose whichever one you want to switch. Okay, and the last step is on the product side. Crisscross all new compounds. Check for diatomics on all new elements.
And then balance.
Okay. Let me extend. Step number 4. I wasn't going to put a step 4. Balance the equation. Because I was going to assume that was an understood, but since that's clearly not an understood, let me write number 4.
Checks to be on the
I have said that many times that every equation needs to be balanced, but since you keep asking me, do we have to balance? The answer is yes.
I'm slipping down. Sorry, man.
You are not the only one who asked me that today, knowledge.
Thank you.
Okay? You are not by yourself out there.
Yeah, I asked you.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe I think I can really do that. What time is your work open? Friday? Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yes, I said 6:30.
All right. Is everybody caught up? All right. Annabelle caught up since she's up wandering around. Fabulous. All right. So if we go back to the question that we wrote down. Look at the oxidation numbers. This one has no polyatomic ions. I picked something that had no random oxidation numbers, so it would be easy. All right, what is aluminum's oxidation number?
3.
All right, so positive 3. What is sodium's oxidation number?
Annabelle, write this down.
It's what? Because I didn't hear the right one.
Sodium?
Yes, positive 1. All right, and what is chlorine?
1.
Negative 1. Now, notice that even though y'all yelled out numbers, I put on the positive and the negative. All right, because for predicting products, we have to know the positive and the negative oxidation numbers. So when we look at this, step 2 is to switch the elements that have the same sign. So we're switching which 2 elements? All right, we're not putting them together, which is what a lot of people want to do. Okay, so when we switch over on this side, don't write this, particularly those of you writing in ink. If I put Al and Na together, I have a positive 3 and a positive 1. When I write a formula, can I have 2 positive oxidation numbers together? No. I have to have a positive with a what? A negative. So the idea behind this is for Na to come over here and Al to go over there. Okay? So they're switching places. So Na is coming over here where Al was, and Al is going over there where Na used to be.
Hold on. So can I write this down? You said no.
Yes, you can write now. So Na is coming over here, Al is going over there. Now, if you had written it ALCL plus NA, that would be the exact same thing. It does not matter the order, as long as NA and AL have switched places.
Bet.
Okay? Now, step 3. NA is an element by itself. Is it one of the 7 diatomics?
No.
Put nothing on it. Does not need an oxidation number. It's not one of the 7. It gets nothing. ALCL is a what? It's a compound. What do you have to check? It's a +3. It's a -1. What do I do? 3 comes down, 1 comes down. So, writing it without all the crap in it. And I'm going to get rid of that so I got a little more clear space. That would be the equation. Okay? Now, is it balanced? No. So we're going to balance it. So I have 3 chlorines. I'm going to put a 3 here. 3 sodiums. 3 sodiums. 1 aluminum. 1 aluminum.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is awful. That really just a little.
Okay, let me comprehend this.
You do?
I am.
So why we write down all the steps if we basically just did the same thing we just did?
There you go. I was thinking Money gonna ask the same thing though.
I just wanted to practice your writing skills. Just so Annabelle could color code. They said they didn't need the steps. They knew how to do that. I'm not sure they did, but okay.
Yeah, because it's like what we just did.
It's your test time, right?
All right, let's do another one then. Oops, change screens.
What?
All right, another easy one. I just put a polyatomic ion in. All right, so what do I do first?
Look up the oxidation number of each element for polyatomic ion.
All right, so what's nickel? Nickel is what?
3. You have to include the positives.
Sulfate?
-2.
Calcium?
Calcium is 2 plus 2.
Okay.
So we're gonna switch the nickel and ICA, right?
Okay. So what do I get?
CA.
Ca with who?
Ni.
All right, so if I put Ca with Ni, that's +2 and +3. Can I have those together?
No. Well,
So,
Oh my gosh.
Ca with who? All right, Ca comes over here, and I goes over there. The 2 positive switch.
Okay, finished it. But like, do you have to reduce on these 2?
So, if this is +2 and this is -2, Linda wants to know, do we have to reduce on these also?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you do. Okay? I cancel out. They go away. And then plus, what else did we have? Is Ni one of the 7?
No.
So do we put anything on it?
no.
No. Yep.
Can you kind of look at it like you kind of have to have like the same, it has to match, so like how that's a positive and a negative, this one has to be a positive and a negative, and then a positive by itself, this is positive by itself.
What? Yeah. I don't understand that.
Okay, then somebody who knows what she's talking about answer. Because I'm not sure I know what she's talking about.
We just get our class. Hey, what did you get? What I just said? Right here.
Everybody good with the equation?
Yes.
Because at this point, I'm assuming we can do the easy ones like that.
Where did you get all that from?
Most of us get it.
Wait,
If you didn't have to reduce, you would still crisscross, yes. But since they reduced, I'm not bringing the twos down.
So let's say the numbers were different, like it was like 4 and 2, 4 would go, but that's like 4 and 2.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't reduce?
If you had a 4 and a 2, you'd still reduce to a 1 and a 2. All right, one more.
No.
Yeah? I'm going back. All right, what's the question? Who's got the question?
Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel. Shh. Guys,
Since it's 3, we don't, on the second, the right side of the equation, we just.
is it one of the 7 diatomics? And you don't use the 3.
So if it's of the 7 diatomics, we put their subscript down, or we put a subscript?
You put a subscript of 2 if it's one of the 7. Okay, it doesn't matter. Even though nickel has an oxidation number of 3, we do not bring that +3 down at any point in time. All right, if it's not one of the 7 diatomics, it gets absolutely nothing on it. It's just Ni. Okay, it doesn't matter. Even if I try to trick you and I write iron 3 behind it, is iron one of the 7 diatomics? No. So you just write Fe. Okay? Because it's not one of the 7 diatomics. But you'll be surprised how many people will write that on a quiz.
I would.
A lot of people will. They'll do it on the test too. All right?
That's all time next week.
I would like to say the test will be Friday, which is where it falls in our schedule for this week.
No.
This Friday.
What is it?
We'll just see if we make it based on where the ACT is this week.
What is it?
The test should be Friday.
Brother.
All right, so KF plus I2 yields. See if you can do it. Look up your oxidation numbers and see what you can do.
I get home late until they are.
But if we don't make it based on the ACT, it'll be Monday.
We just do it Monday anyway, because it's been a really stressful week for me in the first place. And
Stop arguing. Just do the question. Just shush. Do the question.
are you checking the?
All right, look at the oxidation.
It's oxidation number.
I'm fine.
So if we put positive 2 for
It's lovely, except what didn't you do?
Balance.
If you ask me the question's right, if you balance the equation,
balance.
If it was wrong.
I had it wrong, I mean, had it right.
Yeah, got that.
that's how you check if it's right. You won't balance if it's wrong. All right, for those of you who are struggling with your oxidation numbers, what's potassium?
+1.
Fluorine is -1 and iodine is -1.
Where did you get that?
Right, that's what I got so far.
Your 5 clear brown iguanas are all -1. There are, it's listed as -1, +1, +3, +5, and +7 on your sheet. The only one we will use all semester is -1.
For the diatomics?
For the 7 diatomics. For those 4.
I thought.
We will only use -1 for all
Okay,
of
am
those.
I tripping or do we used to
count them up, so it'd be +5, right?
What?
You're tripping.
You're true.
I've been doing it wrong the whole time. Look, I thought whenever there would be like more than one, it'd be 3.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That's how you get your 10 for that.
Okay, I haven't lived it impossible to stop.
I could have sworn, like, is there more than one?
Okay, I'm
That's-
done.
Is there more than one?
You got
Count them, that's correct.
2, 1, 2, 1.
Oh,
You don't have to. I'll just tell you that it's gonna
Can
be
we
a
get
1 there.
another one?
You're so excited about it.
All right, so if we look at what you switched, you've got K with I, F by itself. Those had ones you cancel. That's diatomic. To balance it, you put a 2 here and a 2 there. Wait, what?
Let's freaking go. I'm sorry, Pepper, that's my answer. Good job, Melanie. It's
No,
We're doing 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. We're doing 1, 2, and 3, and then we're gonna talk about how to do double split. If we don't have time to do 1, 2, and 3, I'm just gonna talk about double split.
I'm able to get it made by the other Winston or
But no one has gotten so much confidence in
Just
Say what?
He was like, how
What's
should I
that?
say that?
Do the ones that cancel out go together? Is that what you're asking? Not necessarily, no.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, not necessarily. Which ones do you think they cancel out? Yeah, no. So, nickel, now, those of you who are just talking, y'all are gonna lose your practice time.
We're both.
Because the more you socialize, the less time you get for practice.
We're doing all of these.
We're doing 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, no.
Get right.
Can y'all get off of me like
Get right.
that? I'm a person, I make
Get
mistakes.
right.
So,
Everybody get in my feelings.
This one, we'll figure out actual oxidation number. And you're gonna switch.
You see our
You're gonna
words?
change the place.
So what is?
No, it's fine.
So, who has the same sign?
I said CR.
Put CL and F points and F and CL cost.
Joe.
Take that 2 off, cannot come across the arrow. Because no substance comes across the arrow. That's the parentheses where it really comes out. This is, that's part of, it's an element by itself. It's one of the 7 diatomics. Clearly, she didn't go back and watch or study anything or get notes for anything from Friday.
No, I did.
It's one of the 7 diatomics. Put 2 on. Get the notes to catch up from Friday.
H of CL.
Lord Jesus. I don't want to touch her.
Oh, you did?
I don't even want to touch your paper.
Ooh.
Let's go down there.
You don't even know.
All right. Just cross your oxidation numbers on NA and CL.
Which one is it? Is there anyone away?
It's PB.
Just take the one.
Is there anyone away?
Oh, I'm so over it. Oh, look.
If they went away, I'm assuming you mean the NA plus 1 and CL minus 1 for cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ready to be balanced.
No,
You didn't get the notes on the 7 diatomics.
There's no F, so there's.
There's an F right there. How many F's are on this side?
Oh, you bounces.
Yes, like we did earlier in the opening when we were practicing.
You're Kathy.
I'm not.
Don't you have to like back this way? For the second one. Whoa, you got 3 too. You should the back of the
Yeah, that's what I meant.
All right, yes, now, is this color by itself page worth $7.com?
You're really gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
You're just switching it around. Oh, I'm sorry.
They cancel out, you have subscript, what you know.
Sorry.
Okay, now you're ready now.
What about this complicated? I know we get a girl from a girl.
What's the vaccination number?
Her name is Janet, but then she kept on canceling, so then I
What
got
the
to
hell vaccination number is?
So you haven't done it sitting up, it wasn't.
I didn't really get a photo of it. I got a bill in there. It's not the same thing.
It wasn't.
So you gotta know about the accent he knows. Right, the accent he knows everything. But don't go there, cause they do the real really.
Yeah.
Why did you try to? I was just wondering. How was I supposed to know you were gonna say that? You right.
I did something.
What?
Holy, I don't
Who else has a question besides Annabelle?
lost, right? Okay, this one got it. I'm doing this right.
Really?
Yours got Sil, three. This is.
Before you balance.
Oh, do you want us to just
Lewis
predict
does not have a two.
3. And then
So Lewis has a 3, that has a 3, that has a 3. So if that's a 3 and that's a 3, what's gonna happen to those
They
occupations?
cancel out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh,
What? Answer that question.
valid. Oh, when I get back.
Right? The answer is always that.
Okay, I just heard you.
You are correct.
You stuck again.
There are 27 other people in the room.
I don't want to know what it is. I don't know you.
Yes, I know, but I know you got somebody other, sorry. Crap on your desk. I'm not a small person to get you out of the room.
It is on that.
Can't hang off, I'm not a small person.
Oh, that's so big. Oh, that's on the phone.
You were on the road.
What?
What if we did crisscross and OG? You don't have to look it up. So what happens to the 3 negative? Then we go, yes. Right? And then you check other times themselves to see if they're 1 to 7.5. They are, since you haven't bothered yet, HNOMCLER.
Why does it
The waves.
Correct.
She told me to listen to this video. She told me to cancel it out.
You told me I was wrong. No, first of all, I've never said I'm wrong. The word is like, why you put it on the account? But you meant I was wrong.
I was asking for help.
So the next time y'all say
I don't see our screen. I know too.
She got pushed off.
So then the next one.
Are you gonna straighten it?
And I only get it done.
We were only supposed to. How are you gonna cut your hair?
I don't know why.
No, it's fine. No.
I
For real, Natalia, don't do it. We have 2 more minutes.
All right, so if you check your answers, here are 1, 2, and 3. Oh no, I'm getting ready to talk about double
Oh my gosh.
Lord.
You better have to do all three of them.
Wait a minute.
I
It's
know.
because I didn't, whatchamacallit?
Good job.
No, it's not.
Oh, wait.
Well, then you can check 1 and 2 if you only did 1 and 2.
No, I didn't.
I do one.
Now let's try this.
For real, cause wait,
Why would you?
Why would I
thought
what?
number 2 was already
I
balanced.
forgot.
Number 2 isn't balanced.
Told me it was.
Can it be?
I did not. I said now balance.
Miss Ball.
I got 2 out of 3.
I got all of them wrong. Charity. Why did
You're on roll. What did you do wrong?
everything apparently?
Humans combust.
Why humans combust themselves?
What?
I'm so glad.
I'm gonna be there at 6. Because I'm back already. From 5:45. So, 5 to 5 over there. Till 5, I'll be taking my just a minute.
I don't know why you bring those things up.
What?
I passed just my second.
Alright, anybody else have a question?
Yeah, that's what I told you.
Alright,
I walked past that.
I'm so
so,
It just like went from here. It's like actually if you look here.
double displacement.
How you said it was single.
It is. We're just gonna do a sample.
Why are we speaking?
The nice thing about double displacement is there are no new notes that we need to add. Okay, you already have all the steps. So all we need to do is to do a sample so you know how it works. Okay? So if you have, let's just say ALBR3 plus MgCl2. Okay? How is this different from what we just did?
Yeah.
2 compounds. Okay? That's what makes it different. Okay? This is a compound plus a compound. That's what makes it different. So the steps are the same. Aluminum has a +3. Bromine has a -1. Magnesium has a +2. Chlorine has a -1. So this time you choose. You have 2 oxidation numbers that match. You have 2 that are positive. You have 2 that are negative. When I was in high school, preferred the positives. So even as an adult, I prefer the positives. If you look at it and you prefer the negatives, switch the negatives. You choose, okay? I would tell you to be consistent. It'll make your life easier. But if you like to switch back and forth between the positive and the negatives, knock yourself out, okay? So, Miss Wall always liked the positives. I still switch the positives. So Mg goes here. Al goes there. So, who is Mg going to be with? Mg is going to be with Br. And Al is going to be with Cl. Now, do I have any polyatomic ions on this side?
No.
So, can any of the subscripts go to that side? No. No subscripts can cross the arrow because there are no polyatomic ions. Where do my subscripts come from? The oxidation numbers that I put in by doing what? By crisscrossing. So, +2, -1. Bring my 2 down. +3, -1. Bring my 3 down. Okay? All of my subscripts come from me putting in the oxidation numbers and crisscrossing. Okay? So now if I rewrite it without all this doodling I have. Does it matter what I choose to balance with, to start with? No.
What did you call those thingies?
Double displacement?
No,
Diatomics?
the 7 diatomics.
So we don't have to worry about the diatomics since we're going.
For double displacement, you will never have to worry about the diatomics because everything will be a compound. Okay? So we have 3 and 2, so 6. So we're going to put a 2 there to make 6, 3 there to make 6, 2, and 2, that'll make 6. So 3 to make 6.
And we put a 2 with those all the time.
Well, if you've got a 3, you'll go to 6 most of the time.
Oh.
But
With the 7 diatomics.
yes, you put a 2 on it. If they're alone, they have to be alone. Now, if you will, because all of the double displacement work this way, I don't think we need to beat ourselves over the head with these. I think most of us will be fine. So take the worksheet you have in front of you. For homework tonight, we're going to do question numbers 4 through, no, let's say 10.
Sister, what?
Okay, 4 through 10.
4 through 10 is the 6 questions.
I'm not
All right. I told you that I would give you something that had types on it. That way, those of you who did not write down the examples had something with types on it. On the one that I'm handing you now, all. Before you moan, you're only telling me the type.
So it's not See, that's
You got a calculator, put it up. So does everybody know what to do for homework? You don't take the ACLC, I checked them already. Good. Once you get it done. Get my calculators in the tub.